In Venezuela, polling stations have started to close amid massive turnout for election of justices of peace in communal districts throughout the country. In Brazil, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva was discharged from hospital following an emergency surgery. And in Gaza, injured people and dead bodies were transported to the Baptist Hospital after overnight Israeli strikes targeted the Abu Iskandar area. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In Venezuela, polling stations began to close for the election of justices of peace in communal districts throughout the nation. Precisely, Venezuelans vote for 15,000 justices of peace in a process that highlighted the power given by the Bolivarian government to communes and which constituted a celebration of the popular consultations that were held nationwide prior to Election Day. Since early morning on Sunday, citizens went to the polls, which were meant to close at 4 p.m. local time, but remain open for 4 additional hours amid massive voter turnout. In this regard, voting centers have started to close in the state of Zulia and the capital district of Caracas. Communal justices of peace will be mediators in matters such as family and neighborhood conflicts, among other situations. In addition, their functions include promoting conciliation and preventing violence in the communes. In Bolívar State, Venezuelan citizens also go on Sunday to voting centers to cast their ballots and elect the justices of peace that will represent their communities.
The opening of the center was at 8 o'clock in the morning without any inconvenience. Thank God we have had enough people coming to the center. So far there are no problems at the voting center.
I'm a candidate for the elections that are being held today because I consider them very important for justice and peace in our nation and in our homeland commune of Bolívar, in the state of Bolívar, here in Bolívar City.
And in Valera Municipality, Trujillo State, citizens are also exercising the right to vote to elect justices of peace while calling on their fellow citizens to join the process.
Today we are very happy and grateful to God because since very early in the morning we are here in the voting center to exercise our right to vote and thus continue to ensure the peace of our country, Venezuela, as our President Nicolas Maduro has indicated. From here, we can show the whole world that we are a symbol of peace. Venezuela is a symbol of peace, and that is why I exercise my right to vote on this beautiful Sunday.
I invite the whole country to join our process. It is quick and simple. It is easy to vote. The invitation is for everyone over 15 years and older.
And in this context, we go now to our correspondent in Caracas, Gladys Quesada. Hi, Gladys, tell us the latest over there.
Yes, thanks for the time and the contact here in teleSUR English and with From the South to our audience and the opportunity to tell you what is going on here in Venezuela. Now we have been doing this report all over the day with the consultation and the voting for the peace justices here in Venezuela. The peace justices are an instance of the communal state, of the communal justice, and are part of the construction of a new way of enhance the democracy and the government here in Venezuela. This is the first time that this is being done in Venezuela and in the world because the structures are also renewing under this new form of governance. I have to say today, December 15th, is not only the voting for the peace justices, it's also the celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Constitution that was enabled and enacted by the then president and now late commander of the Bolivarian Revolution, Hugo Rafael Chavez Frias. And also I have to say that the election of the peace justices, is one of the many ways to ensure that the justice, the peace, the concord, and the agreements come from the people to the people and for the people. Because those who are being elected today, they have no formation on the legal matters. They have the goodwill, they have the approval of the people, and they have the know-how of the territories, the communes, the municipalities, and the regions. I have to say also that Venezuelans are going to choose among 15,000 justices of peace. And out of those, they are going to choose also the substitutes to ensure the continuity of that legal process. The justices are going to intervene in minor legal matters. That's to say, minor robbery, familiar disputes, territorial disputes, and other neighborhood conflicts that could appear. And they have now the authority to intervene and to decide on these cases. Also, they have the most representation and the most backing of their people, because they are respected subjects of these communities and these communes. This, as I was saying, is the acme, is the top of these consultations of the people, and a way to enhance, to construct the communal future and the communal state for Venezuela. Also, this is one of the last consultations, because now coming into the end of the year is a moment for reflection, is a moment for review and for summarizing what has been done in favor of the people, and this is the last one. So for today, the opening hours was 8 a.m. and the closing hours was programmed for 4 p.m., but because of the long lines and the coming up of people, the authorities decided to extend the voting hours until 8 p.m., 4 more hours. So everyone who wants to vote can do so and can come to the voting centers and cast their ballots here. Those are the main topics of today. Those are the main issues of this news topic here in Venezuela. And now I'm giving the signal back to you.
Thank you, Ila, for all the information on this paramount event. From Caracas, we were talking to our correspondent Gladys Casala in the framework of the elections being held in Venezuela to choose justices of peace in communal districts. And with this report, let's take a short break. But first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, arrived in the capital of Quintana Roo aboard the Mayan train on Saturday night. Accompanied by members of her cabinet and several governors of the area near the train, the President highlighted that the work is a legacy of former President López Obrador. According to the Mayan train management, during the first year, 603,082 passengers traveled on it, which represented an improvement in the living conditions of Mexicans and visitors to the country. The head of state congratulated the workers who made the construction of the train possible, as well as the National Defense, which was responsible for the project.
Thank you very much, Chetumal. Thank you, Quintana Roo. Thank you all, the work team, governors. Today marks the one-year anniversary of the first trip on the Maya train. And also the opening of the southern section of the Maya train from Escarcega to Chetumal. First of all, I would like to congratulate the construction workers who made this historic feat of the Maya train possible. They are the mind, body, and strength of Mexico's transformation.
In Brazil, President Luiz Inácio da Silva was discharged from hospital following an emergency surgery. Let's see what a correspondent from Sao Paulo, Inácio says in this regard. In his X account, Lemus informed, Lula has just been discharged from the hospital and is expected to leave the Syrian-Lebanese hospital today. The president had a very good post-operative process within the expected range. He will remain in Sao Paulo at least until Thursday and then return to Brasilia with a slower pace of work for the next 15 days. He cannot do physical activities for now. After being discharged from the hospital, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva assured that he will soon resume his governmental activities.
I'm returning home now, at ease. With certainty that I'm healed, I hardly need to take care of myself. I can't run on the treadmill with athlete speed because I'm not an athlete. I have to stop weight training for a while. I need to stay about 60 days or so quiet, but I can go back to normal work. I will only stay at home until Thursday here in Sao Paulo. I will do the last tomography, and then I will go back to work.
Meanwhile, Brazilian President Lula da Silva reiterated that he will not accept disrespect for democracy and the Constitution, while emphasizing the Braga Neto case.
What happened this week with the order of General Braga's imprisonment? I'm going to show you that I'm more patient and democratic. I believe he has every right to the presumption of innocence. What I did not have, I want them to have. I have every right and every respect for the law to be enforced, but if those guys did, what they tried to do, they will have to be severely punished. This country had people who did 10% of what they did and died in jail. It is not possible that we accept this violation of democracy, of the Constitution, and it is not possible that a generous country like Brazil has people of high military rank plotting the death of a president of the Republic, of the vice president and of a judge president of the Supreme Electoral Court.
The Supreme Electoral Tribunal of Bolivia began on Sunday the voting day where people will elect for the third time the high authorities of the judiciary and the plurinational constitutional court. More than 7,335,000 Bolivians were summoned to elect 19 High Court judges. The Supreme Electoral Tribunal enabled at least 5,597 voting presence in the 9 departments of the state and 33,000 polling stations. In this sense, President Luiz Arce exercised his right to vote and assured that this is the only constitutional and democratic way for the nation to have new judicial authorities. In Guatemala, meteorological authorities warned about 16 earthquakes registered in the country in the last 24 hours, some of them perceptible in several points of the territory. According to a report issued by the Department of Research and Geophysical Services, the National Institute of Seismology, Volcanology, Meteorology and Hydrology informed that the earthquakes registered magnitudes between 2.1 and 4.8. The seismic movements originated in the western department of Escuintla, in Quetzaltenango, Santa Rosa and Jutiapa. The Emergency Operations Center of the National Coordinator for Disaster Reduction ruled out damages after these seismic events. On Saturday, at least 2 people were killed as fierce winds from Cyclone Chido lashed a French Indian Ocean territory of Mayotte. Authorities warned of severe damage. 2 deaths have been confirmed so far in Petite Terre, the smaller of the 2 main islands of Mayotte. The acting transport minister said the Pamdatsi airport suffered major damage, especially to the control tower. Cyclone Chido is reported to be the most violent and destructive storm in the territory since 1934. On the other hand, acting Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau posted that 140 fresh troops and firefighters would be sent to the scene to help with the recovery efforts, doubling the deployment sent earlier in the week. On Sunday, a sun and dust storm hit southwestern Iran, resulting in the closure of schools and public buildings and the cancellation of flights due to poor visibility. A thick yellow fog shrouded the Iranian provinces of Khuzestan and Bushehr, where buildings were barely visible and residents had to protect themselves with face masks. As a result of the storm, schools and public services were closed in southwest Iran, and all flights were suspended until further notice. In addition, in the city of Abadan in Khuzestan province, the air quality was considered hazardous, exceeding by more than 25 times the pollution indexes considered acceptable by the World Health Organization. Dust and sandstorms have long affected the region but have become more intense and frequent in recent years, mainly due to climate change. Cyclone Chido made landfall in Mozambique, bringing strong winds after passing through islands in the southeastern Indian Ocean. According to local authorities, Cyclone Chido made landfall near Pemba in the province of Cape Delgado on the north coast of Mozambique. It brought strong winds and rains that also affected the province of Nampula. A preliminary report indicates that there was damage to buildings and power outages in several parts of the country. Cyclone Chido hit Mozambique after passing through the French department of Mayotte, where it left more than 14 people dead and material damage. The nearby islands of Comoros and Madagascar were also affected. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. In southern Palestine, an Israeli attack on a United Nations school that housed displaced people killed at least 20 civilians, among them women and children. According to local media, the aggression against the Education Center from the United Nations Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East, UNRWA, took place near the Nasser Hospital, located west of the city of Khan Yunis. Furthermore, sources informed that the majority of the victims were children attending school at the time of the attack. In addition, the Israeli army reportedly destroyed several residential buildings in the Jabalia camp, the largest of the refugee camps in the Gaza Strip. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry condemned Israel's expansionist policy, warning about the escalation of Israeli violence in the territory. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates warned through a communique about the escalation of violence of the Zionist entity in the region and accused the armed forces of that country of perpetrating an ethnic cleansing. In this sense, the ministry explained that the expansionist measures include the seizure of lands and the installation of Israeli surveillance and communication towers, in addition to increasing the number of military checkpoints. Moreover, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry criticized the lack of concrete actions by the international community to stop Benjamin Netanyahu's government. In Syria, the new regime ordered to disband all the bases of the Palestinian resistance factions in Damascus and to disarm them. In a statement, the regime reported that it sent a senior official from its military operations administration to the Yarmouk Palestinian refugee camp to inform that they would no longer be allowed to carry weapons or have training camps. Following this, local media reported clashes between the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine and FTS terrorist groups in Ousaja village, west of the capital. The new regime's orders state that factions must disband their military formations as soon as possible in exchange for political and charitable engagement under the flag of the new Syrian state. The Prime Minister of Ireland, Simon Harris, has addressed Tel Aviv's decision to close its embassy in Dublin after the European nation showed its support for South Africa's genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice for the Zionist regime's actions in Palestine. The Irish Prime Minister took to his social network X to state, "This is a deeply regrettable decision from the Netanyahu government. I utterly reject the assertion that Ireland is anti-Israel. Ireland is pro-peace, pro-human rights and pro-international law. It wants a two-state solution and for Israel and Palestine to live in peace and security. Ireland will always speak up for human rights and international law. Nothing will distract from that." And we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.